a record of the delightful piece they're going to play this evening.
A second glance through the looking glass to ponder. Who are you? Who are you? Hapticlabs. Can you scoot back a little?
How would you describe your photography? What is happening?
I think it boils down to making art and sharing that art with others, and making art that empowers other people. So I see art as anything. Art could be dance, it could be theater, it could be poetry, it could be writing, it could be photography, it could be painting. And I don't think there's any good or bad art. I only see art as either authentic and genuine and personal, or inauthentic and impersonal. I think the more personal you make your art, the more you make about yourself, the more other people could relate with it. And ultimately, you need to share it with other people and empower other people. So I don't see happiness as owning a bunch of money, or I don't see happiness as financial security. I don't actually even know. And I do think that having control and freedom is a very essential part to happiness, but I think ultimately freedom and control, it's more of a mind state thing. So like, you could have a 9-to-5 job and still have freedom and control. It's just more of your attitude to living. So I think true happiness isn't necessarily changing the external reality. It's rather changing your internal mindset. And I think the more productive I am as an artist, as a writer, as a photographer, as a teacher, the happier I am. So I think ultimately, true happiness is empowering yourself and then empowering others. My personal philosophy right now with photography is that photography is a tool for self-exploration, photography is a tool for self-expression, and photography is a tool for you to live a more adventurous, exciting, more empowered life. I used to think that photography was about just making nice photos and uploading them to social media and getting a bunch of likes and comments, but now I'm starting to realize that photography is kind of this life philosophy lifestyle where photography gives you the opportunity to explore, to be like a child, to appreciate life more. The more experience I actually get in photography, I actually see myself going in reverse, as I could become more childlike. So for example, I've been photographing more photos of my food, I've been photographing more snapshots of my ordinary life, and rather than trying to make really good photos, I'm trying to live the best possible life possible, where I see every single day with opportunity, I see every single day with joy, with curiosity. So I think my photography philosophy is trying to be more childlike. Stoicism has helped me overcome the fear of what other people think about me and having confidence in myself. Zen philosophy has helped me find fullness and meaning in my life through emptiness. So this reminder of keeping things simple, of having a child's mind, having a beginner's mind, of not being so attached to stuff, but rather finding more fulfillment in life through experiences. And even for me, I live a pretty minimalist lifestyle. You know, I'm doing most of my computing on an iPad. My favorite camera is the Ricoh GR version 2, a $600 camera, and I just shoot in P mode, program mode. I just set and forget, and I just use the simplest possible settings. And I think studying Zen and Zen philosophy has helped me actually focus, because one thing I learned through Zen and Stoicism and Taoism is that to force yourself to focus is impossible, but cutting away and pruning away distractions is actually the best way to focus. So I knew my personal distractions, always checking my email, checking my phone, checking social media, reading comments. And now I don't read comments, I don't look at likes, I don't look at statistics. And that's helped me get rid of my distractions in order for me to focus to produce. And for me, I'm the happiest and I feel the most enlightened when I'm creating new information, when I'm creating photos, I'm creating videos, and I'm just riding that Zen wave and in that Zen flow of living in the pure creative moment, not caring about the past or the future, but just being centered in the present moment and finding joy in that flow of creation. Use photography as a reminder that my life is short and life is wonderful, and to use camera as a tool to meditate my own mortality and the shortness of my own life, but using photography as a tool to remind myself to live life to the fullest and share that joy with others. So the reason why I think about death is very useful is that, best case scenario, I live to be like 90, and let's say we have genomics research which extends my life to 120. It's still a pretty short life, and obviously I get stuck in the trappings of modern day concepts of success, like getting a bunch of money or buying a house or having tons of followers, and all these forms of success as external, as not internal. Now what I'm trying to do in my photography in my life is trying to discover truths about photography, life, philosophy, and devoting myself as this instrument of knowledge, and being self-centered in myself to discover the answers I'm personally curious about, but also once I discover these answers and these what I consider certain truths, to share that with other people. And if there's any legacy I want to leave behind, is probably the information I create. And I think this is where open source information comes along, is that I want people to access these ideas which can empower people and future generations of humanity. Ultimately, I don't really care whether Eric Kim is remembered or not, but I want the ideas, the empowering ideas to live on. In order to innovate, you need to find things that you're frustrated with and things that really upset you, and be the solution to your own problem. So for example, the reason why I created a lot of the materials on my blog and videos was that I was so frustrated that there wasn't any information on the internet on like practical ways of how to make photos and how to shoot street photography. And actually, I think the best way to be motivated is to follow your own curiosity and actually to be very self-centered, because once you fall into the success trap of just constantly trying to create content or information that helps other people but doesn't interest you, you're going to lose passion, you're going to lose enthusiasm, and I think even your audience is going to tell that it's not real. So I think that's actually a good piece of advice that a lot of people don't say, is that like people say, oh, always think the audience is right, the customer is never wrong. I actually disagree with that. I think most people, they don't actually know what they want. And with true innovation, it's to look within yourself, your own soul, to figure out what you would like to see in the world and to essentially create that as part of a reality. I think a lot of it also is avoiding boredom. I get bored very easily, and I'm essentially like a big kid. I have like ADHD. I'm actually not very good at focusing on things, but I only like to focus on things that I have a personal curiosity and I want to discover the answers for myself. And so for me, I think that's super important. Also, these are just practical tips, just drinking a lot of coffee and drinking lots of espresso, black coffee, and also music. I think music's always been such an integral part of my life, even a lot longer than photography. And music is one of the best motivations. Whenever I put on a good beat, I put on good music, it really kind of gets me in the mood. And also, this is more of a Zen philosophy, is that in order for me to be really focused in this Zen creative flow, I actually don't use email, I don't use social media. I kind of wall myself out for the rest of the real world. And the benefit of that is that I'm allowed to have more empty space in my mind where I can actually listen more to my own voice. Because I think with social media, email, modern technology, phones, you're the prisoner and the slave of other people's thoughts, and you're constantly playing defense against all the stimuli that's attacking you, rather than emptying your mind and letting your own ideas permeate within yourself.
Okay, Eric, last question. What is something that you want to share that probably people don't know about you?
One thing that I want to share with other people that other people don't know is that if I'm not always active and I'm not always making, if I'm not always exploring, if I'm not sharing, I actually get quite dark and get a lot of depressive, kind of sinister thoughts, where I lose the zest of living and I feel just lost and just really dark. And I think a lot of people know me as, happy Eric Kim, always smiling. And generally, I actually am a very positive person, but I'm also kind of a pessimistic, quite dark person. And I think this reveals a lot through my writings that, like, even now I have all the forms of success. I'm making a comfortable income. I'm doing my passion of photography for a living. I'm teaching and traveling the world, but still, like, enough is never enough that I still worry about finances. I still care too much about what other people think of me. And obviously, legacy and, thinking about my personal fame, I often care too much about it, is that I'm always comparing myself to other people. And, I don't have all the answers. I've discovered some of the answers, I think, which work for me. And I think one of the things that people don't know about me is I guess like my darker side, the part that people Eric Kim's like some sort of like privileged spoiled kid, but actually a lot of things that people don't know about me is I grew up pretty poor. My mom declared bankruptcy. I've had a physically and mentally abusive father who ruined a lot of my family's situations, who used to go gambling and ruined my mom's life. And also he's put a lot of dark emotional clouds over myself, and it's taken me a long time for me to overcome that. And still there's times that I think about it and it holds me back. And so it's actually through my dark times and through the suffering that I've experienced as a kid and also as a young adult, it still stays with me. But that's actually where I gain the most positivity and the encouragement of life, is through this contrast of the deep, dark, depressive things, and also finding true joy in life. And also, one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is how much I appreciate Cindy. Is if it weren't for Cindy, I wouldn't have started my photography travels. She also encouraged me to start the photo club at UCLA. She's encouraged me to start the blog, to do workshops, and she's obviously making this film right now. So a lot of people don't see behind the scenes that Cindy has done so much to empower me. And so a lot of what I've created and shared is actually direct influence of Cindy. So I love you, Cindy. None of this would have been possible without you.
A record of the delightful piece they're going to play this evening.
Have more faith in what you believe in and stay true to yourself, stay humble in your thinking, and to keep that same beginner's mind, that same passion that you have for photography, because over the years from age 21 to 29, you were told by so many different people that what you're saying is wrong, you're stupid, you're overrated, you're overhyped, and you don't know what you're talking about. And over the years, you started to try to take yourself too seriously as a photographer and an individual. But rather, the best is for you to keep that childlike enthusiasm to really not care about what other people say, and keep that pure Kim, child's mind alive.
Visual artist,
so essentially,
blogger,
the advice I give to you, 21-year-old Eric, is
many curiosities and talents.
Once again, don't doubt yourself. Keep smiling, and for you to have faith in yourself.
I think ultimately, I see myself as a philosopher-artist.
A morning whisper, mechanical steps lead me somewhere I once was. Do you still remember? Walk swiftly, a second glance gently, an eternal looking glass of creator. Who are you?